The day before our engagement, my fiancé bankrupted my family's company, stole the money, and fled overseas with Scarlett. My parents were driven to suicide by creditors. I went to the Sterling family for justice. But the Sterling parents drugged me and sent me to a gambling yacht. Dozens of men dragged me into a private room and took countless humiliating videos. Just as I was in despair, ready to jump into the sea, my fiancé's brother suddenly appeared, becoming my only salvation. He cleared away all obstacles for me and punished everyone who had wronged me. He said he had loved me for a long time and didn't care about my past. To marry me, he moved out of the Sterling family and gave me a wedding of the century. 5 years after we married, I boarded the yacht again as Mrs. Sterling. But I unexpectedly overheard his conversation with his friend. Robert, back then, for Scarlett, you didn't hesitate to drug Sarah and ruin her purity. Now that she's finally pregnant, you're bringing her here to repeat history. Isn't that too cruel? Cruel? I promised Scarlett that only her child would inherit the Sterling family fortune. Sarah's illegitimate child, the bastard in her belly, cannot remain. Besides, such a filthy woman isn't fit to bear my child. Have those men from last time been arranged? Just like 5 years ago, hold nothing back. Make sure Sarah miscarries. Remember, don't let her suspect anything. It turned out the salvation I thought I found was just another abyss. The love I believed in was all a lie he deliberately wove. Since that's the case, I'll help him get what he wants. On the deck, Robert faced the sea breeze, his voice filled with anguish, every word regret. Since Scarlett chose my brother, all I could do was remove all obstacles for her. Making the Miller family bankrupt was just the first step. The Miller family's funds? Consider them my wedding gift to them. Sarah is already stained. Someone like that isn't fit to bear my child. His friend beside him furrowed his brow, his face showing reluctance. But the men who dragged her into the private room 5 years ago were hired by you. Sarah has suffered from depression because of that incident all these years, and you've been with her every day for her treatment. You know better than anyone. If you repeat history, how is she supposed to live afterwards? Robert's expression turned cold. He reached out and lit a cigarette for himself. Through the swirling smoke, he spoke indifferently. Worst case, I'll keep accompanying her for treatment. No matter what, her child cannot be born. I promised Scarlett I wouldn't let Sarah pose any threat to her. What about Sarah? Does she deserve to be manipulated like this? She's innocent. She loves you so much. How could you? Before he could finish, Robert interrupted coldly. Enough. I told you, follow my plan. Blame it on her appearing at the wrong time. Give me the medicine. I need to go back and watch her drink it. Seeing he couldn't dissuade him, his friend could only turn and leave. Tears streamed down uncontrollably, carried by the sea breeze towards the night sky. I hugged myself, trembling uncontrollably. 5 years ago, Michael bankrupted my family's company, took all the money, and went overseas with Scarlett. My parents were driven to desperation by creditors and chose to jump from a building. I went alone to the Sterling family, seeking justice. But they drugged me and sent me to this yacht, becoming a tool for release in the dark games of high society. Dozens of men dragged me into a private room and filmed countless humiliating videos. In despair, I crawled onto the deck, ready to jump into the sea and end it all. It was Robert who suddenly appeared and pulled me into his embrace, giving me the only warmth I had. He gently wiped away my tears and bloodstains, one stroke at a time, saying, "Wait for me. I won't let a single person who wronged you get away with it." That night, screams echoed everywhere on the yacht. My body was left with a stress response, plagued by nightmares every night. It was also him, always by my side, patting my back and comforting me the moment I woke up from a nightmare. He said he couldn't control Michael, but Michael owed me. He would repay it tenfold, 100-fold. To give me a wedding, he didn't hesitate to break with the Sterling family and strike out on his own, declaring his love for me to the whole world. But in the end, 5 years of happiness were nothing but a mirage. The one who saved me from the abyss was also the one who pushed me into hell. Stumbling back into the private room, Robert saw my pale face and his eyes turned red with urgency. He pulled me into his embrace, just like before, gently patting my back. What's wrong, Sadie? Are you remembering something again? Don't be scared. I'm with you this time. Those men won't appear again. Before coming up, I specifically asked the doctor to bring you some medicine. Drink it once the water cools down. Looking at his eyes, feigning tenderness, I said softly, Robert, I don't want to take the medicine anymore. My illness is better. I want to go home. The warmth in his eyes cooled slightly. He reached out and gently tapped my nose. Sadie, be good. Mental illness can easily relapse. Taking medicine helps you recover faster. Once you've taken the medicine, you won't have nightmares anymore. Before I could speak, he had already put the medicine in my mouth. The warm water went down, but I felt completely cold inside, as if certain I would fall unconscious quickly after taking the medicine. Robert didn't stay with me any longer. He turned and quickly left the private room. I knew he was going to find those men from 5 years ago. Memories, shattered like nightmares, surged over me again. I broke out in a cold sweat, collapsing onto the floor, rolling awkwardly. As my consciousness blurred, arm lips pressed against my forehead. Be good, Sadie. It will be over soon. I'll wait for you. What followed was tearing pain. Blood kept gushing out below me. The familiar sensation drowned me. Countless rough hands grazed my skin. I don't know how much time passed before I heard Robert's voice again. She miscarried? Yes, she did. But Mr. Sterling, they didn't stop. It seems they were a bit heavy-handed. Miss Miller probably won't be able to get pregnant again. Well done. Double commission. Get off the ship and collect your money. When I opened my eyes again, it was 5 hours later. Robert tightly held my hand in his eyes full of tenderness. I'm sorry. Sadie, I didn't protect you well. It was those men from 5 years ago. When they found out you were here, they came for revenge. We couldn't save the baby. The doctor said it will be difficult for you to get pregnant again in the future. Don't worry. This time I've rounded them all up. They won't appear again. Don't cry. No matter what happens, I'll be by your side. The baby is gone, but that's okay. I only need you. I stared straight at the deck, so numb I couldn't even feel the pain. I was the one who suffered the humiliation and lost my child. Yet he cried as if he was in more pain than me. His acting was superb, and I couldn't be bothered to expose him. After a while, when he fell silent, I slowly said, getting revenge for me, are you tired? Robert, you should rest. I'm fine. Seeing I wasn't making a fuss, he sighed in relief, closed his eyes, and lay beside me. His breathing gradually became steady. I quietly picked up his phone. 5 years into our marriage, this was the first time I had unlocked his screen. But the password was Scarlett's birthday. The messaging app in the background wasn't logged out. There was only one contact, saved as Scarlett. I tapped on it. Their conversation stretched from 5 years ago to the present. Good morning and good night messages exchanged every single day, without fail. Scarlett was overseas, but she would send Robert her schedule every day. Either she was shopping or having coffee, or working and having meetings at the company. No matter what she sent, Robert was never dismissive. One photo, exchanged for $10,000. Robert participated in her life like this, all along, until 10,000 photos filled the photo gallery. But when I shared things with him, he always had only one reply, Sadie, I'm in a meeting. Let's talk after I get off work. To please Scarlett, he went to great lengths to send gifts from back home to her. Auction orders densely filled dozens of pages on the screen. Many brands seemed familiar. Robert had also given me one, but it was just a freebie the auction house gave to Scarlett. The latest video in the photo gallery was from 5 hours ago. The thumbnail showed me unconscious after taking the medicine. Standing beside me were dozens of familiar faces. My fingers trembled uncontrollably. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't tap to open it. Finally, I awkwardly pressed the delete key and turned off his phone. Robert, since our beginning was built on a lie, this time, let me end it with a lie. Without hesitation, I sent a message to my best friend, asking her to wait for me on the other side in a lifeboat tomorrow night. I also found divorce papers online, downloaded an electronic version, and added it to an email. After doing all that, Robert's forehead was covered in cold sweat in his sleep. He kept muttering, "Sadie. No, you can't be harmed. Sadie." The moment he opened his eyes, he held me in his arms as if he had recovered something lost. Our chests were pressed tightly together, but our heartbeats were at different rhythms. After a while, he came back from his nightmare. "Thank goodness you're all right." Similar scenes had happened many times before. Before, I always thought it was deep love, that he felt my pain. But now it seemed it was just perfunctory. Just superb acting. I lowered my head and let him hold and comfort me. "Be good. I'll go get you some food and be right back. Wait for me." The moment Robert left, I followed right behind him. He didn't go to the restaurant. Instead, he turned and went to a private room downstairs. The moment he entered, a slender wrist instantly wrapped around his shoulder, pulling him inside. I stood outside the door, listening to rapid, shallow breaths from inside. Robert said, suppressing something, finally decided to come back. Scarlett smiled radiantly and stood on tiptoe to kiss the corner of his lips. "If I didn't come back soon, I was afraid you'd actually fall for Sarah. I heard you resorted to your old tricks again. She's your wife of 5 years, and she was just pregnant. You're really willing to go that far, aren't you, big brother? If Sarah found out, she'd definitely be so angry she'd want to eat me alive." Robert chuckled, amused by her, pulled her tighter, and pinned her against the door. "I told you, as long as I'm here, no one will dare touch you. As long as you're happy, Big Brother will pave the way for you with her flesh and blood." A passing server noticed me and gasped, "Mrs. Sterling? What are you doing here? Your body hasn't recovered yet, you shouldn't be walking around. If Mr. Sterling finds out, we'll definitely be fined." As soon as she finished speaking, the wealthy businessman passing by looked at me with a hint of mockery. "Is that Mr. Sterling's wife? The one who was just dragged into the private room by a dozen men? I heard she's been ruined twice already. Mr. Sterling is really something else, to still be able to stomach that. Twice. More than that. With over a dozen men each time, that adds up. Mr. Sterling has been cuckolded so many times he could knit a sweater. He must be blind to fall for a woman like that. He'd probably puke holding her at night. WH. Oh, knows if she was forced or if she went willingly. Maybe she's not such a good person after all. Otherwise, on such a big yacht, why does trouble always happen to her? This time the baby was lost because of what happened. That child was unlucky to have a mother like her. I stood there, my body almost giving out. Robert heard the commotion outside and came out to see the scene. His face instantly turned ashen. A second before I fell, he caught me in his arms. "Sadie? What are you doing here? You're not feeling unwell, are you? I'll take you back." I didn't say anything, my gaze following his behind him to look at Scarlett. Afraid I would find out, Robert quickly explained, "Don't overthink it. Scarlett just got back home. I happened to run into her and came over to see her. That incident was 5 years ago. Scarlett was afraid you'd be angry, so she stayed overseas. She finally came back this time. After all, we're family, so how about we, don't worry. As long as I'm here, Michael, that little brat, can forget about getting in. Okay, it's in the past. I won't bring it up again." I knew what he was trying to say. Rather than letting myself be passive, it was better to bring it up myself. At least I could keep some dignity. The onlookers who had been mocking me scattered when they saw Robert come out. "Sarah, long time no see." Scarlett smiled and greeted me, showing off a limited edition new arrival from a brand on her wrist. I nodded silently, suppressing my hurt, and said, "Just getting some air. Since you're busy, I'll go back first so I don't cause you any trouble here. Robert thought I was angry and followed me all the way back to the private room. His eyes were red with what looked like heartache. Watching him eager to perform, the desire in his eyes not yet faded. Suddenly, I felt like laughing. Just so I would make way for Scarlett. He didn't hesitate to drug me and ruin my life. Now he got what he wanted, while I live under everyone's scorn, unable to lift my head. Who was he putting on this act for now? Don't worry. It's been 5 years, I've long forgotten it. It's just that the private room is too stuffy, and I keep remembering things I shouldn't. That's why I went out for some air. Robert breathed a sigh of relief. He personally wiped away the tear stains from my eyes. After feeding me the medicine, he left the room again. This time, he headed towards the restaurant. 10 minutes later, a server slid an invitation for the evening banquet under the door for me. I knew this was Scarlett's doing, but I still went. Before leaving, I threw the suitcase I had brought into the sea. At the banquet, Scarlett appeared wearing a haute couture gown. Her elegance was evident in every movement. She used Mrs. Sterling's name. Everyone was speculating about her relationship with Robert. Whispers and comments came intermittently. People stepped forward, raising their glasses to praise how well matched they were, a match made in heaven. Robert rushed over, busy socializing, and didn't notice my presence. But Scarlett walked up to me and led me outside the private room. Her gaze swept over the bruises on my neck. She flashed a smile. Sarah, 5 years later, you're still a waste. So, how does it feel to be dragged inside? You couldn't protect the Miller family back then, and now you can't protect your child either. You're just a joke. Didn't you know? Those men weren't a coincidence. Your beloved husband arranged it all himself. When they were stripping you naked, he was right there watching. I almost feel sorry for you. Hatred surged within me. Before I could do anything, Scarlett slapped herself across the face twice. The moment a scream rang out, she leaned forward, flipped over the railing, and fell straight into the sea. Her thin body thrashed in the seawater. I hadn't even reacted yet, when Robert heavily pushed me to the ground. He didn't spare me a glance, turning directly and jumping in. The moment Robert pulled Scarlett back, she hid in his arms, sobbing continuously. The look Robert gave me was devoid of any trace of the affection he once had. Sarah, what the hell are you doing? This is what you meant by it being in the past? Scarlett knew about your situation and kindly came to visit you, wanting to explain the misunderstanding from back then. How dare you lay a hand on her? I lay sprawled on the ground, my clothes pulled up, revealing red marks on my skin. My expression grew colder. Misunderstanding? Shouldn't you be explaining the misunderstanding from back then to me? If it weren't for you, how would I have ended up needing her to visit me? He furrowed his brow, a flicker of panic in his eyes. Explain what? Didn't you know about the Miller family bankruptcy back then? I kindly took you in. If you hadn't been disobedient and wandered off today, how would you have been? Even if I were a god, I couldn't be by your side every second. You brought this on yourself. Why blame it on Scarlett? Blame yourself for not having any self-respect. Sarah apologized to Scarlett. Before I could speak, Scarlett had already started crying. No, don't make it hard for Sadie. The Miller family bankruptcy back then was all my fault. I didn't stop Michael in time. I wronged her. Let's just consider what happened today as my compensation to her. Since she hates me so much, let's not keep in touch anymore. I don't want to make things difficult for you. My fingernails dug hard into my palms, blood dripping down. Watching their figures walking away in an embrace, I knew we were finished. 5 years of love turned to ashes in that moment. A continuous stream of insults came from the onlookers who were watching. Is that the Mrs. Sterling from the Sterling family who was ruined twice? She's already damaged goods, yet she has the nerve to make things difficult for Miss Scarlett? Hasn't any shame? At least Miss Scarlett is pure and innocent, unlike her. Twice. More than that. With over a dozen men each time, that adds up. Mr. Sterling has been cuckolded so many times he could knit a sweater. He must be blind to fall for a woman like that. He'd probably puke holding her at night. Who knows if she was forced or if she went willingly. Maybe she's not such a good person after all. Otherwise, on such a big yacht, why does trouble always happen to her? This time the baby was lost because of what happened. That child was unlucky to have a mother like her. Miss Scarlett and Mr. Sterling are the real match. I heard they were together in college. If Miss Scarlett hadn't gone overseas, there's no way that woman would have gotten in. Besides Mr. Sterling, no one else would be that blind. I stumbled back into the private room. The blood underneath had already soaked my dress. After washing up, Robert finally sent a message explaining, "Don't overthink what happened tonight. Scarlett is my brother's wife in name, after all. Many people on the yacht are Sterling family business partners. You hurt her, it caused a loss of face, so making you apologize was just a show for outsiders. Once I've taken care of her injuries, I'll come back and apologize to you, okay? I told you I'd get you a gift, don't be upset." But I knew this act wasn't for outsiders at all. It was for me. He had faked this affection for 5 years. Now, it was time to end it. I signed the divorce papers and scheduled them to be sent along with the video screenshots from his phone. I took the medicine and sat by the bed until midnight. He still didn't come. Only a server brought a message, saying the CEO of Sterling Group, on the yacht, raged for his beloved. Scarlett merely fell into the water and caught a cold, and he summoned every doctor on the yacht. For this, he didn't hesitate to spend millions. At dawn, I called him. He was busy bidding on J.E. Wellery for Scarlett at an auction and didn't pay attention to me. He bid extravagantly. Envious murmurs from surrounding guests rose and fell. Only then did he remember to answer the phone. "Sadie? I'm getting your gift ready. Are you feeling unwell? I'll send a doctor over to see you first. I'll be right there." I lowered my head, watching the countdown for the email to be sent tick by second on the screen. Downstairs in the lobby, Robert and Scarlett were locked in a tight embrace. "It's fine. You're busy, go ahead. I won't bother you." "All right. Be a good girl and wait for me in the room. Your husband will be there soon." The call ended. I turned and left the scene. The auction ended. As usual, Robert gave the jewelry to Scarlett. Leaving behind the freebie, he returned to the private room with the gift box. But the room was empty. He felt a sense of unease. Just as he was about to make a call to ask, his friend suddenly burst in from outside, his face pale. "Robert, something's wrong. Sarah is in trouble. Those men from last time, for some reason, didn't get off the ship as agreed. Someone saw them leaving with Sarah." Just as he finished speaking, Robert's phone rang. He received an email. Robert didn't have time to look at his phone. He froze on the spot because of those words. When he reacted, he grabbed his friend's collar. His voice trembled with urgency. "What are you talking about? I already paid those bastards, didn't I? Why are they still on the yacht? Where's Sadie? Where did they take Sadie? Why did they act on their own?" His friend hadn't expected Robert to lose control. He furrowed his brow and shook off his arm. "Calm down. The server said Sarah found them herself and voluntarily went with them. Robert, do you think Sarah might already know about what you did? Otherwise, after being dragged away by those men twice, she wouldn't possibly go with them voluntarily." Robert sank into a chair, muttering repeatedly, "Oh, that's impossible. I personally gave Sadie the medicine and watched her drink it. She couldn't possibly be conscious. How would those men know where she is?" "Which server told you? Bring them over now. I'll ask them myself." "Sadie isn't well. She's been bleeding since the miscarriage. Nothing must happen to her at a time like this. If those bastards dare not follow the plan, have the yacht dock now and wait for the police to take them away. If anything happens to Sadie, I'll make them pay with their lives." His friend looked at Robert's bloodshot eyes and sighed deeply. "Robert, you decided this yourself. You personally fed Sarah the medicine. Her current situation is all because of you. Why are you rushing now? Calm down. If you call the police, with so many people involved, it's hard to guarantee no one will expose you. You're walking right into it. The server is waiting outside. If you don't believe me, ask them yourself. The next second, the door was pushed open. The server, his face pale, knelt on the ground. Mr. Sterling, I don't know anything, I really don't know. Robert's expression turned cold. He grabbed the man by the neck. His right hand tightened gradually until the other man's face was beet red before he spoke. I'll only ask you once. Where is Sarah? Where did they take her? The server couldn't make a sound from his throat, only managing to mouth the words with difficulty. It was those men, the men you brought, they took Mrs. Sterling. Mrs. Sterling wasn't forced, she went voluntarily. A few of them went towards the deck together. When I sent someone over, they were all gone. Only a pile of clothing was left on the ground. Mrs. Sterling likely fell into the sea by accident. Hearing the words "fell into the sea," Robert's eyebrows instantly furrowed tightly. He lost control. He kicked him in the chest. What nonsense! Sadie was waiting for me in the room, perfectly fine. How could she have gone OUT? She just called me, and she sounded completely normal. Unless those bastards forced her, Sarah wouldn't possibly go with them. Something must have happened to her. Maybe those bastards dragged her into the sea. She can't swim. I'm going to find her now. With that, Robert urgently tried to rush out the door. His friend quickly pulled him back and punched him in the face. Calm down. Didn't you hear what he said? Sarah went with them herself. If she didn't already know what you did and choose to take them down with her, what other explanation is there? Didn't you want her out of the way? Now Sarah is gone, Scarlett is right next door. The woman you've dreamed of for 5 years is back. What the hell is wrong with you? His friend's continuous questions froze Robert's blood. He couldn't snap out of it for a long time. That's right. He had personally caused all of this. Now that Sarah was gone, what the hell was he going crazy for? He didn't even know what was wrong with himself. From the moment Sarah was dragged into the private room a second time, his emotions had been subtly spiraling out of control. There was always a voice deep down telling him, if he continued like this, he would regret it. He had even had moments of softness. But looking at Scarlett's wronged, red-rimmed eyes, he still chose to continue. Tears fell uncontrollably. Robert's body almost gave out. Scarlett appeared just then, intimately linking her arm through his. Her voice was sweet and gentle. Robert, what's wrong? Did Sarah give you trouble again? Her temper is just spoiled by you. She still thinks she's Miss Miller. I know her, once she thinks things through, she'll realize she was wrong. Women, you know, sometimes you have to give them the cold shoulder to make them listen. His friend, who had always disliked Scarlett, snorted coldly at the sight. Listen? I doubt she'll have that chance this lifetime. As you wished, Sarah is gone. Along with the men who humiliated her. A flicker of joy flashed in Scarlett's eyes, quickly replaced by a worried expression. How could Sarah get mixed up with those men? Robert, she didn't get addicted, did she? I saw a science video once, and it had cases like this, where after being forced, they develop a twisted desire for it, and then actively seek it out. Robert, don't be sad. Sarah probably didn't mean it. If it's really bad, when she comes back, I'll find some doctors for her from overseas. Don't be sad, I'm here with you. It's better not to look for her now, lest we disturb their good time and affect your relationship. Looking at her face, as exquisite and gentle as before. But Robert felt a continuous chill rise in his heart. When Sarah was taken by those men, Scarlett was standing right there watching. She personally witnessed the torment Sarah endured, and personally heard Sarah's painful screams. The sight of her lying in a pool of blood was still vivid, shocking. As a fellow woman, it was one thing for her not to sympathize. But now she could say Sarah actively sought it out. Since when did this sister he doted on become someone he didn't recognize? He seemed he had never truly known her. For the first time, he felt a sense of revulsion towards Scarlett like this. Disgusted by her standing idly by, and also disgusted by himself for being the culprit. Turning his head away, he coldly shook off Scarlett's hand. Enough! Sarah isn't the kind of person you describe. There must be a misunderstanding in this matter. No matter what happened to her, I will find her. She is my wife. This doesn't concern you. Go back and rest. Unwillingness showed in Scarlett's eyes. Robert had only taken 2 steps when she reached out and clutched her stomach, her expression turning painful. Ah, Robert, my stomach hurts so much. Did falling into the water last time hurt the baby? Can you take me to the doctor? I'm in so much pain, the SA. Me act as before. But this time Robert didn't buy it. His cold gaze swept over her. Robert's expression remained unchanged. He only left one sentence, if it hurts, stay here. I'll call a doctor over. And quickly left the private room. On the way to the deck, playful taunts from guests kept coming to his ears. I heard Mr. Sterling bid extravagantly for Miss Scarlett. What a grand gesture. Truly childhood sweethearts. No wonder he didn't care when his wife was bullied. It turns out he still holds someone else in his heart. That slut was probably just someone he hired to put on a show, right? Miss Scarlett is the one who holds his heart. He just casually spent hundreds of millions, dollars. Who would believe he doesn't love her? This banquet must be for Miss Scarlett too, hosted by Mr. Sterling? We're all basking in Miss Scarlett's glow. Miss Scarlett is pure and innocent. If he doesn't love her, is he going to love that wretch instead? I heard Mrs. Sterling went to find those men again, and left with them. She looks decent, but who knew she had such a strong urge? The voices came, word by word, pressing down on Robert, making it hard for him to breathe. Every word he heard pierced his heart a little more. He didn't understand. He had clearly ordered the news of Sarah being harmed to be sealed. When it happened, the private room was checked inside and out. Only his men were there. How did the guests get this information? What else did Sarah go through while he was away? Did these people curse her to her face? He didn't dare think about it. He only felt his soul trembling. He had clearly planned it all. After the banquet, when the yacht docked, with the child gone, he would take good care of Sarah's body. He would stay with her and she would continue therapy with a psychologist. He would walk out of the darkness with her. Even without a child, he would use the rest of his life to compensate Sarah. As long as Robert was there, no one could give her a hard time. But all his plans were ruined. In his panic, he quickened his pace. He quickly reached the deck. But he only saw Sarah's shoes. Those slippers were the ones he personally chose for Sarah before coming up. He couldn't be mistaken. Besides that, there was no trace of her having been there. Robert's eyes turned red with urgency. He turned and rushed into the surveillance room nearby. He started searching for the record of Sarah's last appearance. He saw her standing with several large men. The moment she pushed the men into the sea, his blood froze in an instant. She had found out that he hadn't just failed to get revenge for her, but had instead let those men stay on the yacht, eating, drinking, and enjoying themselves. On the screen, Sarah pushed the men into the sea one by one. Finally, she jumped in herself. Her slender figure was swallowed by the sea, vanishing without a trace. Robert's face instantly turned pale. He rose abruptly. Find them. Send the order now. Everyone, get in the water and find Sarah. I want her back, dead or alive. The surrounding staff didn't dare say more and quickly turned to follow the order. His friend furrowed his brow, looking puzzled. I really don't understand you. Your plan was to ruin Sarah, to make her miscarry. Now she knows the truth and chose to leave on her own. Why are you still looking for her? Find her, and then what? Apologize to her body? Say she was the one you loved? Say you hired men to humiliate her and film the video because you had no choice? Robert, don't be foolish. Sarah is gone. No matter how much you do now, she won't see it. Before she left, She dealt with those men for you and kept your secret. She's done more than enough. Why do you insist on digging up these shady matters again? His friend's questions kept hitting him, one after another. Robert sank into the chair, trembling uncontrollably. He didn't understand why he was doing this either. But the image of Sarah falling into the sea lingered in his mind, impossible to shake off. It seemed at that moment only finding Sarah could offer him some semblance of peace. Losing control, he took out his phone and unlocked the screen. Just as he was about to message Sarah, he finally saw the email he had ignored for a long time. The sender was Sarah. Inside was a screenshot of the video he had filmed. The rough hands of several men showed bulging veins, straining to pull off the clothes from her body. The image stung his eyes and stung his heart. At the bottom was a signed copy of the divorce papers. Sarah had signed her name, leaving the rest blank for him. A sense of helplessness washed over him. He zoomed in on the screenshot, like torturing himself, and stared at it for a long time. In this moment, he finally realized. He had fallen in love with Sarah, and understood what he had lost, what he had done wrong. But it was too late. Sarah wouldn't come back. The child they had lost could never come back. His friend also noticed the image on the screen and gently patted his shoulder in comfort. Things are like this now, Robert. You can't turn back. From the moment you bankrupted the Miller family 5 years ago, you should have known your relationship could never be simple. You drove her parents to their deaths, and now you've harmed her and caused the death of your child. Even if Sarah were alive, she could never forgive you. These 5 years of tenderness were stolen time. His friend's words pulled his memory back 5 years, to the first time he saw Sarah. She was kneeling at the Sterling family entrance, her thin body soaked by the pouring rain, but her spine was held straight. The defiance and resentment on her face were so evident, making him, standing on the terrace, see the fortitude of the Miss Miller at a glance. Thunder and lightning flashed across the night sky. Her fair face was etched in to his mind just like that. He had also wondered if he had gone too far, harming an innocent person. The thought of being soft-hearted was fleeting, quickly dispersed by photos of Scarlett's happiness. He didn't hesitate any longer and continued with the plan. Feeding Sarah medicine, sending her onto the yacht, arranging for men to drag her into the private room. Step by step, burying the Miss Miller, and burying his own conscience. When it happened, he waited outside the door the entire time, listening to the girl's desperate screams from inside, gradually becoming hoarse, gradually quieting. Only then did he appear as a savior, saving her from peril. Sarah, having endured hellish torment, never doubted his words. He said he had brought the perpetrators to justice, and she believed him. Her weak body curled up in his arms, her eyes so dry she couldn't shed a single tear. Just like that, he kept the little rabbit by his side, protecting her. And protected her for 5 years. The heart has a will of its own. He had already, unknowingly, changed his attitude towards Sarah. A subtle change, one even he hadn't noticed. The moment something happened to Sarah, the love suppressed by hatred erupted, leaving him shattered and wounded. But it was all too late. Lost in thought, Scarlett called again, hearing the phone's special ringtone. His friend furrowed his brow and warned, "Don't mind me saying this, but that Scarlett isn't a good person. If it weren't for her, you and Sarah wouldn't have ended up like this." The idea to bankrupt the Miller family 5 years ago was also hers, she told your brother. Dragging Sarah into the private room? That was her idea too. If I'm not mistaken, that medicine? She gave it to you, right? That kind of woman isn't truly sincere with you. All she wants is to use you to make sure Sarah can never recover. Robert also understood his friend's words. He hung up the phone. He casually sent a voice message. "You are Michael's wife. You don't need to contact me for everything. When the yacht docks, I'll have Michael pick you up. As for us, this is the end." The message had just been sent. Scarlett's call came in again. He had intended to simply decline, but his trembling hand accidentally pressed answer. A choked, tearful voice instantly sounded. Robert? Did Sarah say something? If she blames me, I can go and apologize to her in person. I don't blame her for pushing me into the sea. It was my fault. I lost my balance. Don't you two argue because of me. I already owe you both so much. His patience ran out, and his tone turned completely cold. Enough. How you fell into the sea and how the news of what happened to Sarah got out. We both know the truth. While Sarah hates you, she never did anything to harm you. You, on the other hand, never stopped tormenting her. Do you think I can't see what you're thinking? Michael wasn't enough for you? Scarlett, you've overreached. You'll get your comeuppance sooner or later. I told you, this is the end between us. Don't contact me privately anymore, so Michael doesn't overthink things. That's it, goodbye. After saying that, without waiting for Scarlett's reaction, he hung up the phone directly. But his heart was still pounding violently, almost leaping out of his chest. Soon, the employees sent to find Sarah's whereabouts returned one by one. But there was still no sign of Sarah. The moment the yacht docked, Robert chose to call the police. After an extensive search by the police, traces of Sarah appearing overseas were found. Robert didn't hesitate any longer. He handed over company matters to his friend and turned to leave for the airport. On the way, he sent a message to his brother. But it wasn't to plead for Scarlett, but to tell him the truth. Scarlett was his wife, and he had the right to know what kind of person she was. As for what he would do after knowing whether to stay or leave, the T was his own decision. He wouldn't interfere anymore. Meanwhile, I had been recuperating in a hospital overseas for a week. After several examinations, the doctor also said my body was severely damaged. Even if I recovered, I would never be able to get pregnant again in this lifetime. I didn't react much. My best friend, however, kept speaking up for me. By the time Robert arrived, it was already past midnight. My best friend had fallen asleep, slumped on the hospital bed. He was alone, standing by the window, watching for a very long time, until the sky began to turn golden. He left behind a signed copy of the divorce papers, then turned and left for the airport.